They were able to mask themselves behind the mountain. And
all right, we shift our focus back to the Delhi riots case, ladies and gentlemen. The Supreme Court has kept nation first and has not granted bail to Sharjeel Imam and Umar Khalid. On that note, I'm also being joined by Rhythm, our executive editor, legal from the newsroom. Also joining us is lawyer Rajat Nair. He is the special public prosecutor in the Delhi riots case. Rhythm, over to you.
Yes. Thank you, Tanisha. I welcome on our show senior central government advocate and special public prosecutor in the Delhi riots matter, the person who's drafted voluminous affidavits for the Delhi police in this case before the Delhi High Court and the Supreme Court. He's a very core and senior-most member of the Solicitor General's team. Rajat Nair is now joining us. Rajat, thank you for being a part of this understanding of what we need in the Delhi riots case. I begin by asking you, I remember the Delhi riots case. You've been a very critical, integral part of the prosecution team, trying to make everybody in India understand that this was a pan-India effort, this was a regime change operation. Today, Sharjeel Imam, Umar Khalid have not got bail. These terrorists stay in jail, Rajat. Yes. Why have the other 5 got bail and these 2, the court has said, prima facie, there is evidence against them? What happened and what has the Supreme Court picked up today, Rajat?
Yeah, I'll explain it, what happened inside the courtroom. The Supreme Court, in a very, very fair judgment, has actually categorized the accused in 2 categories. One is the main accused, who actually played the role of conspiring. And there's a second side actors who have only facilitated it. So side fiddles have been granted bail, whereas the main accused who have actually conspired, galvanized and created this kind of situation, they have been denied bail. Supreme Court was very clear that people who threat our sovereignty, integrity by their conduct, their role has to be seen and they cannot be granted bail merely on the ground of delay.
Rajat, I also want to ask you, just before this bail plea came, Adv Raju, the Additional Solicitor General, had mentioned about how there are sympathetic international magazines and newspapers that speak about Umar Khalid. Shockingly, surprisingly, the timing was interesting to see how Zorani and US lawmakers wrote a letter just before the Supreme Court verdict. Did you also find the timing to be suspect?
See, there's nothing new in this. Whenever any hearing of this case comes, there is a barrage of media reports. There are reports in New York Times. Everywhere there is a media disinformation campaign. So I am not surprised with this kind of a letter, but this validates our point that there was a foreign hand involved. This was not a spontaneous right. This was actually very carefully crafted strategy to destabilize the government. This was not a communal right at all. The first victim of this right was a police officer. Unfortunately, he was lynched. He was lynched by the crowd. So this was affront to the state. The challenge was only to the state authorities. So it would be wrong to say that this was a communal right.
Rajat, I want you to just elaborate on that a little. Are you then saying that the affidavit, and viewers, I want to explain to us this exclusive conversation we're having with the person, a 177-page affidavit drafted by the Delhi police. A very critical part of it, Rajat, has been you. In the drafting of these affidavits is so important. The words regime change operation, very similar to what's happened in Dhaka and Kathmandu. That clearly means that this Delhi riots was programmed for an unstable government in India, and you are saying, therefore, the target was police officers.
Certainly. It was it was planned way in advance. So if you see the chronology of the events, it's not that the February 2020 riots were the final one. It started with Jamia, it started in Aligarh Muslim University, petitions were filed on the same day. Then this was the prequel. It was planned on the day when the Honorable US President was there, arriving in India on an official visit. So everything was planned. It is a classic case of toolkit. Somebody behind the back in his drawing room has planned everything, all the events, and that is what our case was before the Honorable Supreme Court.
Rajat, today we are speaking about links of Soros. Then do you think that these people were giving an international backing very, very clearly to all these meetings that were happening in PFI offices. We saw meetings, we saw signatures, we saw Umar Khalid, Sharjeel Imam as a part of the WhatsApp group admins. We saw Yogendra Yadav and others who were a part of these photographs that were seen and a part of the 20,000-page chart sheets of the Delhi police. Therefore, there was a concerted international hand behind all this. Who do you think it was?
As of now, I cannot comment on that. I can only comment what is there on record. But the situation which is there, the facts which have emerged in the chart sheet which we have placed before the Honorable Supreme Court, it is very clear that this was not a spontaneous right. And these letters which have appeared in the media clearly validates this point that there is a foreign hand involved.
And Rajat, I want to critically ask you.
US lawmakers have no business to interfere in the administration of justice in India. And thankfully, we have such a robust criminal justice system that these utterances don't matter to us.
My last question to you, Rajat. We've seen the 8-minute video of Sharjeel Imam in the Supreme Court where he's talking about every issue. The CAA was therefore just a catalyst that was used in this case as one of the issues. Even when the sticks were seen, the bombs, the petrol bombs were seen, the acid attacks were seen. What was your sense when you saw people coming out with sticks in Chandbagh and in other areas? Very clearly, the evidence with you. I'm just asking you to draw the attention of our viewers to the kind of evidence you laid your eyes on.
All of that is part of the record before the trial court. In fact, we are grateful to Honorable Supreme Court that now they have directed the Honorable Trial Court to actually lay down a roadmap so that there is no delay in trial. The prosecution is interested in completing the trial within whatever time is required, expeditiously. So now the focus would be on trial, and focus would be as to how all the protected witness, as per the direction of the Supreme Court, are examined as expeditiously as possible.
All right, Rajat Nair, the special public prosecutor leading the fight for the government in this case. I've been seeing you for the last many years. A big congratulations to you, because terrorists and anti-nationals like Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam have only one place, and that is in prison before punishment is accorded to them in this case. Thank you, Rajat Nair, for being with us.
Thank you very much.